Let's cut some fucking grass.
Nice to meet you, Craig. This is actually the first time we've spoken words to each other that haven't been in text.
It is, yeah. Thanks, Brenton, for having me, and nice to meet you as well. Obviously, seen you on Instagram, and love your work, especially on some of the skag gear and all that kind of stuff. I think we live in different worlds, garden-wise, but at the same time, I'm sure we can appreciate what each other does, and there's a big world of gardening out there. So, yeah.
Definitely. I've been a fan for a while. You've got like a fair few followers on Instagram. I've got multiple pages, so my and followers are spread far and wide. So we've got 3 Instagram pages now that I'm running, which is
Yeah,
disgusting.
right.
And then I've got a personal one that I don't even look at anymore. But yeah, how did all this come about? Like, where did you start in the industry?
In the industry, it was a while ago now, and I sort of started in the landscaping side of things. Just with a friend, quit my job as a kindergarten teacher. Literally walked out, um, ran some record shops for a while, uh, and then I just didn't like sort of being that close to people. Really, it sort of started ruining record collecting for me. Just because you're a guy behind the counter, it's not as fun as it sounds. I needed to get outside and went landscaping with a friend who's just also a friend of Clint's, and a guy in Adelaide. So we landscaped together for a while, and I had no idea what I was doing. Then I went and started working for some other companies and found a guy, an older guy who was a very good designer and specialized in topiary, and we hand clipped everything with shears, hand shears, and I guess that's where I got my eye in for topiary, formal gardens, and also a bit of an eye for design as well. So.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So working a few years, with that, and went back to landscaping for a bit before I was like, I can do this, and went out on my own. So that's been good, maybe 15 years now. I think Hedgehogs has been going. Yeah,
So you
yeah.
mentioned with the record stores, like you want to get away from people. Are you just a solo operator? You don't have anyone with you?
Look, normally our team is about four plus me.
Yep.
4 guys and me. So we've got 3 vehicles. We've got heaps of tools. Part of my problem with my business from the start has always been finding the right team.
Yep.
Because I feel like it's a pretty hard ask doing what we're doing, where you're sort of working in pretty nice gardens and there's high expectations, but the expectation of doing it, on time, on budget is also there. So there's a lot of pressure, I think, and I think I put a lot of pressure on staff to kick goals. So therefore, I guess the team hasn't always been 4 people, and at the moment it's not. It's only 2 guys and me, because I've just sort of asked some younger guys to take a break for a bit, because I found that was making me work harder than I really wanted to.
Yep.
So yeah, but 4 guys is sort of good for me. So sort of 2 teams and me. Um, Floating around, and I'm trying to fit in a little bit of design and a little bit of the other stuff at the moment as well. So I've got the nursery going on with the cloud trees,
Yep.
and at the moment that's opened a few little doors. Like I've got a big project in North Adelaide where a Japanese restaurant. So I think 12 of my cloud trees are going in there next week or the week after. I've got 17 plants on hire, for a Netflix set at the moment as well, which is being shot in Adelaide out here in Gawler. I think
Wow.
it's also called My Brilliant Career. It's a mini series they're shooting. So, that side of it. So I've got that little sideline thing as well as just high end general maintenance, which is looking after good properties and keeping them sharp. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so, like, when I talk about people in the lawn mowing community, diversifying during winter. You've taken it to the next step. You're hiring out your plans to Netflix, and yeah, that's awesome. So
Yeah,
did they
little
approach
side
you?
hustle.
Did they approach you for that service, or did you see or hear of the opportunity and go for it? Or
Yeah, they approached me. They originally wanted me to shape some shrubs into I think one of them was something like a pheasant and something like a crown for this particular shoot they needed to do, and I'm like, well, yeah, if you've got 3 years, I can come up with something like that for you. So they were kind of I showed them what I did have, and they kind of came up and went shopping and plucked a whole lot of things out of the nursery and rearranged their set to suit, to suit that. So yeah, it's going to be fun to see my plants. It's cool because I didn't have to trim them or anything. They wanted them to be a little bit wild, a little bit unkempt, a little bit weird and wonderful. Um,
yep.
so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they were used. Obviously, I've been on set, but I haven't seen any action. So yeah, yeah,
Oh, maybe they'll call you in. Maybe you'll get in a scene or something. You'll be there and you'll be able to trim it while they're shooting or something like that. Bit of realistic. Get the gardener in to take care of the topiary. That'd be good.
yeah, yeah. The weird gardener with a stupid hat. That guy coming in. Yeah,
Oh,
I could be him
trust
for sure.
I've got the exact. So my granddad, like he passed away a long time ago, like 30 years ago, and I've got one of his hats, and it's almost identical to that. And my wife she's like, "Don't fucking wear that, eh?" It doesn't really suit me. It suits you though, and you're doing the right job for it too.
Well, I've got a few of them. I'm rolling with it. So when you've got
Yeah,
no hair, you got to do something, right?
that's
The day
exactly right.
my days of enjoying hair are gone, so I gotta do something. Yeah.
Well, that's why I like. I've there was another contractor who his name's Jaden, and he's from Melbourne, and he's like really into these hats that I wear, the country trucker caps, and because
Yeah.
I've got a fucked up head, it just doesn't look good without the right kind of hat on it. So I've got boxes and boxes of hats because of all the the shows I go to and stuff. Like I'm always that's my collection. I collect hats. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, these ones are the only ones that I've found that make me sort of sit back and go, all right, that looks good. So hopefully, yeah, we were a bit late to get some made up for our show. So we were about a week too late to get a bunch made for our show. So next year we'll definitely get them done. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good to have something unique. Like I started off the bearded lawnsman, and that sort of got me in really well with a lot of I don't know, jobs that were what I was targeting at the time was like a residential based sort of customer base, and yeah, the bearded lawnsman kind of clicked with a lot of people, and yeah,
Mm.
got nice traction with that. But then yeah, obviously
Yeah. That's how
a little bit.
sort of first view of you. Obviously, scooting around, doing that thing. So I took notice for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Of the
you're
beard mainly.
yeah, it's a bit shorter than it used to be. I've been looking back at photos from back in the day. Used to be monstrous. I was almost a wizard at one stage, and I really had to cut back. I think it's the missus really hates the mustache. So when it gets a bit too
Yeah.
long, it gets in the way of things, and I end up going to the shop and having some sushi and some rice will get stuck, and she'll be like, "Yeah, that's got to get a trim." But
Yeah.
you said so you collect records. Do you collect anything else? Obviously, tools. Like if you're like me, you
Shears.
collect a bunch
Yeah.
of tools.
Japanese shears.
Yep.
Yeah, look, records. No, I think that's really my thing. Music is a big part of my life, actually. So, um, yeah, music records. It's just a must for me. But that's kind of really the only thing I'm a little bit fanatic about. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
How do you go when
Obviously,
you're out on the tour? You listen to podcasts or you listen to music?
mainly music. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
It's mainly music for me. Um, But obviously, when I'm interested in something, I'll put on a podcast and get stuck in. So, which is what I just did, sort of just over the weekend, listening to your podcast. I just got stuck into the vineyard and had that cranking. So, normally it would just be some music. Yeah, I'm in a
That's
band
cool.
and I've always
Oh,
played music, but I don't. I guess I'm a harsh critic of music, of other people's music, and therefore I've
yeah.
always been too scared to release or be really serious about it. I think I had my chance in the '90s when I was playing keyboards for some prominent DJs and things like that. I probably could have made a go of that, but I don't know. I guess it was a confidence thing, and you know, maybe he just wasn't ready for that kind of limelight. But
Yeah.
now music's just I like writing. I like being in the band. We rehearse once a week. We have a laugh, and yeah, I still a regular at the record shop that I used to work at. Yeah, so my record collection's still getting bigger and bigger. Yeah,
How
much
much
to
money
my
do you reckon?
wife's
How much,
chagrin.
I was about to say, how much money do you reckon you've spent on records?
I bought
Just
one on the weekend that was $200. And I didn't really blink, but I didn't tell my wife that I bought that one. I showed it to her. I
oh
said, "Hey, look, I've got this one.
yeah.
Remember when we were traveling around Ireland and I bought that one?
Oh
We had it on cassette. Remember?" She's like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." But she doesn't know it costs $200.
oh no. See, I can't get away with stuff like that because I don't handle any of the finances. Like if I've got cash, it just sits in my wallet just in case money, just in case I have to buy a present. I couldn't even buy her a present without her knowing. She's like, "Oh, you just spent $150." No, and she's like, "I saw it. I saw it come out."
Ye-
Like,
Yeah, yeah. My wife's got like it'll just go bing on her phone, and I'm instantly busted. But yeah,
that's it.
you
Everyone's
gotta
got their
enjoy
thing.
the
Like,
good things.
that's exactly right. Like, I don't know. I was talking the other day about like not having any hobbies, and then I thought, like I'm sitting here in front of like $5,000 worth of podcasting equipment. I've got, an expo in the works and things like that. I think maybe that is my hobby.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
I'll have to reassess. But that's pretty cool. So you mentioned Ireland before. Has
oh yeah.
your job taken you on any trips around like doing certain things, or have you been to like Singapore to Gardens by the Bay and like
I've been, yeah.
have you used the tax write off?
Uh, well, not really. I mean, obviously, I travel a little bit interstate for work, doing master classes and workshops and things like that. Um, not a whole lot. Do more of that around South Australia.
Yep.
I have been to Japan. What started off as a fly fishing trip. We just camped. My mate was working in the snow, so we did a little camping trip around Hokkaido, just fly fishing, camping, and then when he started to get ready to, start the season's work, I went and hung out with some gardeners who I had been put in contact with,
Yep.
and they took me around and showed me, met Bonsai Master and some awesome private gardens and some gardens from a modern designer. So I had a little private tour. We stayed in this little mountain house, which was very traditional. It's a B&B now. It wasn't quite open yet then, but so I've had that Japanese experience. After that, I'll never say that I do Japanese gardens because I don't think I'm worthy of saying that. There's a lot more. There's a lot more that goes into those gardens than you realize, and
Yep.
I definitely like the aesthetic, and I love the style. If I was to say I do Japanese gardens or I do a Japanese traditional style, I guess I would be lying. And so I try and play that down a bit. And my topiary is more maybe just generally artistic than doing any one particular thing or style. Yeah. But Ireland was a long time ago. That was like our let's get away, go do Europe. And, we lived in a tent for a year. We lived in West Cork for a little while in a fishing village and got jobs. That was really cool. When we turned up there was horses in the street and people singing, and it's like, is this just felt like we were on a movie set,
That's so
but
cool.
it was the real deal, yeah. And then we travelled around, did Europe thing until the car blew up and limped home. So that was, and then my wife and I got married after that, after realising we could live in a tent together for a year. So, but
That would be a
as
make or
far
break.
as back then, I wasn't interested in gardens like whatsoever. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Wasn't even gardens weren't even on my radar. So yeah, it's something that's
So what's
evolved for me.
Yeah, so what's like do you have like a starting point, like where, like, I know you were landscaping and things like that, but when the topiary started to really shine to you, is it just something that you saw and got sort of passionate about, and then sort of like with your records decided, yeah, I like doing this. This is what I want to keep, and now you got a collection of plants as well.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how my plants, the nursery grew, is out of maybe just being more interested in having a business that services that kind of thing, but then also finding it hard to get what I wanted, and so I started growing them myself. And now other designers come to me for plants, and hopefully they make their job look good, and maybe I might get to look after them as well. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's good.
uh, yeah, but I guess landscaping so it taught me the fundamentals and what goes on under the ground, gave me a good idea of level, and I know what's in the soil, the irrigation. So that was a good foundation. But then I guess I leaned more towards the horticulture side of things once I'd worked for this designer called Peter Stubbs. Um, and that's where, I saw my first cloud trees, and we were trimming things by hand and doing sharp topiary and hedging. And that's when I thought, this is a lot, that it was more satisfying than pulling weeds, although obviously everybody has to do that. Um,
Yeah.
but the actual satisfaction of looking at a finished product and a very orderly garden, but then also being able to get creative with gardens. I guess that's where it started. Was back with Peter Stubbs, so I guess I have to thank him for that opportunity. I mean, it didn't really end that well. Working with, it didn't last forever, but it certainly gave me that. I guess that's where I had good grounding. I saw some good gardens, and that's where it started for me. Yeah.
That's awesome. The only, like, I've been to very few gardens in Brisbane with any sort of cloud design or topiary, but I've been to Singapore and did gardens by the bay, and all, like, it just, that place is immaculate. I'm guessing like they've got some pretty like impressive gardeners that are there. You should definitely tick that one for the old bucket list. That's a really nice place, and it's ever evolving. Like I went and chucked on YouTube to sort of show my son the other day. I was like, oh, this is where Dad's been, and they've like decked it out with full Jurassic Park theme. So they've got all these what is it, anatomic like lifestyle, life size dinosaurs and shit. And I was like, holy, like that is what
Yeah.
I would have gone for. I'm like, I love all that dinosaur shit. And
Yeah.
and he was like, was it like that? And I was like, oh no, it wasn't like that when I went. I think they were having like a flower festival, but yeah, just incredible gardens. Like it just, I don't know. I feel like for me, their mood changes. Like we're a maintenance crew, so we don't really, like, we don't get to see those sort of gardens. I would love to. Like, we've just never focused on them. I am now, like, speaking to people like Joel from Install down in Melbourne, and Andy Leaf by Leaf, Frame It. Like, there's heaps
Yeah.
of really cool businesses out there doing these niche, like, gardens. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind even a couple. that I could have for Instagram or something like that. Because we've
Yeah.
just taken on like a mansion that have let their stuff just get so overgrown. It was stunning when it was first on the market in 2014 or something. The gardens were absolutely stunning, and they just like nobody wants to pay to get get it back the way that it should be. So yeah, unfortunately, we're
Yeah.
just in there maintaining a couple of hours every week, and then we have to walk away from it. So it's not
Well,
exactly what I want to do like that, but yeah.
it's not all glamorous. I mean, we've got a big property in sort of North Adelaide, and it's a very big property, but the garden was quite out of shape, and I almost
Yeah.
said no to it, you know. And they also were like, yeah, we don't really want to spend that much either. But
Mm.
it all came down to very hard work, and we've turned that garden around, and now it's starting to look pretty showy again. And then but it's a fussy garden. It's a lot, and we have to watch our spend. We can't spend all day there. So, I don't think working in good gardens is necessarily easier. Sometimes it's a lot harder, and sometimes you've got some prickly customers as well that want things just right, but you know, you sort of have to work within budget as well. So they want the best, but you can't overspend. Um, so yeah, I think so. We have a little bit of both. We have some jobs which are very easy to look after and just general, just a few box hedges, just nice and neat. Clip it, blow it, tidy up, and go. But then there's other jobs that just require a whole lot more horticultural thought and effort and revamping and staging. And they've got an orchard, and they've got you're working. We stage our way around the garden, and we're back at the start again.
Yeah.
And there's a lot you have to look up. You've got trees to prune. You have to, there's a lot going on. There's lots of mulching. There's lots of, weeds, pests. There's the whole thing. So I think sometimes simplifying what you're doing is good, which is what I guess what Head in the Clouds is for me, is trying to hone my energy into something that I enjoy, but also something that I'm good at, but also something that's a bit simpler. Right? I need my tools. I need my designing gear, my consultation. I can do consults, and then I'm supplying and trimming topiary, which is what I'm not worried about anything else. So that's what Head in the Clouds is about for me, is trying to simplify, I guess. Um,
Yep.
so there's not so much going on, and the more you've got going on, the more you're relying on other people to help you out, and that's where I'm finding it a little bit hard at the moment, just to get the right people. Yeah.
What do you look for with staff? Because I know, like you said, there was a few younger fellas that you've put on the bench for maybe what is like a pretty long, cold period. But
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're looking for something different to me. I'm just looking for someone that's going to turn up every day, is quite physically able to I'm not going to hear them whinge about the work every 5 minutes. And will
Mm.
you be looking for someone with good attention to detail? Like, obviously, I look for that as well, but I can teach a fair bit about like what we do, because it's like maintenance. It's pretty easy to come in and learn the ropes. But you're a bit more technical than me, that's for sure.
Yeah, which makes it hard, and I sort of I've always it's two steps forwards and two steps backwards with trying to find staff, because you put a lot of effort into saying, yeah, that's good. Your hedging is awesome. That's great. But you haven't picked up the weeds under it. You've taken heaps long to clean up that area. So it's just the whole staging of it, and it's you have to be multi-skilled, or not multi-skilled, or well, yeah, multi-skilled, but you have to be thinking about a whole lot of different things. It's not just
Yeah.
we're not just there to do the hedging. Some places they have another gardener, right? And we're just there to do hedging and topiary. So that's easy. But um it's just how hard to cut things in which place. Each place is different. So I feel like it's really hard to teach somebody, because you can teach someone how to maintain that property, but then all those rules might go out the window at the next property. So I guess
Yeah.
that's where I'm struggling because then I have to be there every time to make sure, hey, remember, you know, we did that over here, but we can't. This lady doesn't like you. You know, she wants everything to be a bit fluffier or a little bit. You know, like don't do that here,
Yeah.
but you do it, but definitely do it there. So the parameters that it's really hard to get. So in that case, you need a lot of people. You need people to hang around for a while to get to get the gist. And
Yep.
if that turnover is happening every, it takes them 12 months to get it, and then if they're not there, if someone else comes on board, then you're doing the hard yards again for another 12 months to bring them up to speed. I find in my energy for that is a little bit dwindling now, so I've just sort of thought, hey, um, concentrate on what you're good at, keep the other side of the business, keep the standards where it's achievable for everyone, and I'm trying not to be so hard on my staff and just keep my jobs just me, and then I've only got me to blame. you know.
Yeah, I do kind of get that. Like, yeah, it would be hard. But like speaking with Clint from Lawn Hub, like he was
Yeah,
explaining like the differences between hiring when it's Water Pro and Lawn Hub. Like he'll get, you know, 50 applications for a job at Water Pro where he gets like thousands for Lawn Hub. I would have thought like when you put a seek ad out or something, people would be scrambling to jump on with you because just because of the work. Like I see it, I'm like, oh, geez, like if I was, if I was a young fella and I was in the industry, I would be like, oh, I definitely want to get onto that because yeah. But look, I have no real qualifications at all, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Do you need like horticultural, like all these different things, like or just anything, and you can mold someone into what you need.
yeah. Look, I think horticulture and plant knowledge is important. So one of these young guys recently, sort of started the ball rolling for a client to sort of give us the flick, because I was trying to not to go to that job anymore. I'd had the same two guys sort of, working on it, so they could learn the ropes and manage the garden without me being there. But like in front of her eyes, he went to pull out a hydrangea which was dormant, but no leaves on it.
Yeah,
But we'd planted them. He went to pull
yeah,
it out, thinking it was he was doing the right thing, like it was a weed or it was a dead plant, and
yeah.
that starts the ball. So definitely horticultural knowledge is, you can't that doesn't float when you're a high end gardener and you're pulling, you can't do that. You can't do that. So there's got to be some
No,
knowledge, some general plant knowledge, and not just that's a Buxus and that's a Murray. It has to be a little bit more than that. Um,
yeah. I think we've had
but
a few similar things.
yeah, and it doesn't take long for the client to say, "I'm not paying X amount an hour for that." See ya. So, but I think also just the general attitude. So if someone's interested, so I wasn't necessarily, I said wasn't interested in gardens. I'm just an outdoors sort of type. But I guess if you've got that, that interest in outdoors, and you acknowledge seasons, and you realize what's going on with the seasons, and how plants are responding, and you notice plants and nature, and I guess if you're just that kind of person, um, then it's sort of the penny drops a lot quicker than trying to
Yeah,
teach someone from scratch when they're just really not interested in it. Their head's not doesn't think like that. So I find there
it's
are two different kinds of people. The ones you have to drum the rules in, or the ones who just sort of it's more by feel. And I find that kind of person is probably more suited to what we do. Yeah,
it'd be hard to because most people who have I guess I'll call it, like they're more than likely going to start their own business at some stage. So
yeah,
yeah, it'd be a bit hard to keep. I don't know. Like you build someone up and you train them, and then they go and start their own gig, and you're like, oh, that's kind of all my hard work, like going into their business. But then again, like you
yeah,
can't keep people from trying to better themselves. It's like my guys, like if they ever have anything that pops up, I'd never have a shit fit or anything at them because they've pursued something better than what I can offer them.
Mm.
But yeah, like I would have thought people would be like scrambling over each other to get to your stuff. But
Yeah, well, look,
yeah,
I did look recently. I just looked. I put these two guys on the bench, and then I'm thinking ahead to spring and how I'm going to tackle this busy season. So I had a look on Seek, and straight away I saw four of my competitors, which are probably four of the leading gardening companies, maybe in the same area as what I do. Um,
yep,
they're all advertising as well. So pretty much
yeah,
everyone, there's just a shortage of people, and what I'm finding is that there's just a playoff going on. You can get someone in for an interview. You say we'll give you this much with room to earn this much. We just have to see how you go, and then they'll take that to the next company and say you have to beat that, and so it's just more of a. I feel like um, you uh, the risk of employing someone because you're desperate is pretty high. And that's where I
yeah,
found myself maybe employing the wrong people. And then that puts you back 2 years as well because you just put 2 years of effort into the wrong person. So
yeah.
I
That's
feel
a
like
cool
it's
stage
just
for you.
if someone was going to come and jump on Hedgehogs and say, "Yeah, I really want to come work for you," I want to, I figure that they would probably know what we do already and be up for the challenge, and that I think now I'm just waiting for that person to or those people to come along because
Yeah.
I'm a little bit disenchanted with searching for that person. So yeah,
It gets like that, doesn't it? Like I
yeah,
see a lot of people, they'll have someone really good, and that person will move on to something of their own, and then all of a sudden, the person who lost is kind of like sitting there going, "Oh, maybe I should just downsize my business." Just makes more sense than to reinvest, especially now. Like so many people have just been voicing the fact that just staff are just so hard to to maintain, like not even to get, like you could just hire whoever, like you said, but yeah, just finding the right person for that job, it's just so hard. There's just such a dwindling pool of people who actually want to do physical work. Lots of people want
mm,
to, yeah, they just want to sort of do tech or go to uni until they're old enough to you know jump out into the
yeah.
real world. And yeah, I don't know.
And
It's
look,
hard.
I there's no like humility. Like I don't. It's like a young guy comes out and says, "I can do this, no worries." But I don't want to work for you. I want to be a subcontractor. But I don't have
Yeah.
my own tools, and I have to teach them everything, including what's not a weed and what is a weed. And I'm
Yep.
paying them $65 an hour because yeah, you can trim you can make that hedge look all right. I'm not saying that you can't trim a hedge. That's good, but um, it's not. You're not really at the $65, $70 an hour mark. For me. So there's that's what they want to get paid. They don't want to like I guess you and I started. Well, I don't know if you did, but I sort of started pretty low and pretty humble about it until I was confident with it with my skills and ability. That I didn't have to fake it till I made it. I was already doing
Yeah.
it, and I did have the knowledge before I went out on my own. And that's where I
That's
feel
yeah.
like the fake it till you make it. Yeah, in a certain degree, I get it because it's you got to have confidence in yourself, and you're not going to get anywhere if you don't push yourself. But I also feel like you have to also be a little bit honest with yourself and a little bit honest with the client or your employer, and say, well, okay, I'm not. Give me 2 years at this rate. I'll learn all the ropes, and then that's when you get paid. That's when you can get paid more, or that's when you're worth $70 an hour to me.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess that's where I'm at, and that's where I find the market pretty hard at the moment to find the right crew. Having said
Yeah.
that, I've got a good crew, and we're actually all over 40, and find there's just that rational. There's a bit more rational thinking going on. So I am enjoying that sort of pace and that sort of that mature thought process at the moment. Yeah, yeah.
Well, once
I'm
you're over
sounding
40, it's
old.
a bit hard. No, dude, I've just turned 40, and two of the guys that work for me, they could, if something happened, they could just go and live back at home. One of them, or both of them, still live at home. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's yeah, and like one's like mid-20s, one's he's super young, so like yeah, I would still be living at home too. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't think like. I think I've always looked for like the younger person, um, because they're the ones who apply for the jobs. Like I don't when I talk about like doing lawn and garden maintenance, people don't really jump at it unless they know that you know they've got that labourer's mentality. And we haven't really had any older applicants because I jump at them because yeah they've got more to lose, to be honest. Like once someone has kids and a mortgage or they're paying rent, which is just as expensive as paying a mortgage these days,
yeah,
they need to work and they need to be good at what they do and they need to, level up unless they just don't care. And yeah, then that's another issue altogether. But yeah, I totally agree with you. And I feel like back when I used to do the skull sessions with Ben, we used to talk about like paying your dues and like people would say, "Oh, you should be charging $100 an hour." It's like, yeah, but I've got the equipment and the knowledge to charge $100 an hour. Where if you're just fresh into the industry and obviously you're not that fast, and you got to you got to kind of make your way. But
yeah,
then again, like there's so many people out there that get advice from groups. Like the LMCA group is really like so good, but kids will ask. They're literally fresh out of high school and they'll be like, what should I be charging? And people will say $120 an hour, and
yeah,
you know they're pushing a Bunnings mower and using a bent shaft whippy and just not
mm,
efficient. They're not business savvy yet. Like they don't know exactly what they're doing because a lot of this is that it's all on the job training. Really,
yeah,
you can't really learn
yeah.
just from a book or watching YouTube videos. You can get the basics, but yeah, so much of it is just hands-on experience.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance charging, what you can charge, pushing that boundary, and to all being the good guy, the cheap guy who does a good job, because then
Yeah,
you get overworked and you're not respected anyway. You're just doing everything flat out a good job, better than most people, but you're not earning anything. And then the other hand, that you're charging this much at the top of the ladder, but you really don't have the skills to or the knowledge to
yeah.
do it, but
No,
you'll
I
still get
yeah,
away with it for a while, till people
yeah,
start to work out that you actually don't know what you're doing. So I don't know. Happy medium, work your way up.
yeah.
When you obviously become maybe not master, but professional in your industry, charge what you want, and you've got the background and the confidence to back it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And like it's completely different now too because someone will I shouldn't, but people ask me my hourly all the time. Like I do a lot of acreages that include mowing, and if they were just
Hmm.
asking for mowing, it's a straight quote, but then they ask for a couple of hours gardening or they want to do some hedging and stuff like that, but they want to put me on for a couple of hours a week. So automatically they know what I'm charging them an hour. Like they can use
Yeah.
a calculator.
Yeah.
So, I get people throwing comments at me like, oh, geez, I could get an electrician for that and I can get that. And I'm like, yeah, look, there's not many electricians that are rolling around with like $200,000 worth of equipment
Mm.
behind them. Um, But then we had a plumber in here this morning, and he's $200 an hour. So, like,
Yeah, plus a call out fee, maybe.
That's sort of opened my eyes up. I'm like, geez, I'm nowhere near a fucking tradie yet. Like,
Yeah.
I've got a bit of wiggle room there. So yeah, you got a
Well,
call out fee, $200 an hour, and
yeah. And on that
like,
note, I mean, you're a turf. Do you call yourself a turf specialist?
um,
Or
oh look,
you obviously
I
know a
can,
lot about lawn maintenance, or is it just
yeah.
mowing? Because
Oh
I
look,
feel
I am
like, yeah,
I'm a grass cutter, but I can, like, I can identify problems. I won't
yeah,
claim like I know everything about everything, but I've got the network. So I've got the network behind me. If I have an issue, I can get in someone who does. If it's an
mm,
issue that I can't rectify myself, I've got the numbers. So I just use that.
yeah. So I feel like horticulture in general is a little bit left behind, which doesn't do us any favors. Recently landscaping was recognized as a trade. You know, I don't know if that really included horticulture or, like if gardening was, but I feel like we leave ourselves open to this whole rat race of people undercutting, doing cashies and blah, blah, blah. And because we're not recognized as a trade, then it's a little bit charge what you want, but also the cowboys can charge what they want, and you're competing against that as well. So I just sort of, I don't know. I just feel like if there was some kind of recognition of our industry as being a trade, then people wouldn't expect us to turn up and be cheaper than a plumber or be cheaper than an electrician if we're a professional in our field and it's actually called a trade. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's so true. You can kind of break it down into qualifications. Like obviously there's you've got your turfies and you've got your horticulturists, and then you've got your landscapers, and like they've just been that they're constructional landscapers and stuff like that. Like they're now trades, but it is hard. It is hard, but that's kind of the beautiful thing about this business too, is that you can just be that guy that drags around a little trailer with a push mower and a
mm,
little blower and stuff like that. So it's like a no entry level sort of thing. Like it's a very minimal cost business with
yeah,
you know, where a lot of people start. Like I literally started with the basics and very quickly realized like that it had potential and grew. But yeah, I
mm,
still see people now from when I started that roll around with the exact same trailer. It looks like the same mower, dragging
yeah,
it behind the same Commodore, and they must
yeah.
be just making enough to get by. And
Yeah,
it
well,
is a
they've probably
cool.
got loyal clients as well. They've got a good
Yeah.
round. They're happy with their deal. I started off like
Yep.
that as well. I think my nana died, left me 5 grand, and I went out and bought everything I needed, and off I went. In my in my wagon with a trailer, my tools. I had a Jeep at the time, like a Grand Cherokee or something, and just shoved all my tools in that, and off I went. It was the job I had when I didn't have a job. That's certainly sort of how it started for me. Or, I'm like, I'm over this. I'm walking it. I left my job, mid shift. What am I going to do? Um, go to the record shop first, and then go landscaping, and then I quit that pretty similarly and just went out on my own. So, it that is the beauty of the industry, but you also have to, if you're going to make a go of it. Like if I'm going to be doing something, I'm going to be doing it properly. So,
Yeah.
um, I worked pretty hard to lift my game, I guess, from the start. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's understandable. So there would be a lot of high end operators that would probably feel like they're always. It's not like they're competing with cowboys or people who are charging really low prices, but they would probably always have that moment with a customer where they're like, "Oh, I had before I bought this house, I used to have a guy that would mow my lawn for $50." Like,
Yeah.
and all those those are the little things. Would just be a little jab in your day.
Yeah,
But yeah, it
exactly.
is the same. It's the same for me. Like I get beaten on so many quotes now because we are, we're running a lot of expensive equipment, and we're, we're trying to push into different markets, and even with villages, like we've got a village that I just got knocked off for, and it's quite a big company that did it, and they've gone in there and they're charging almost as much as I pay my guys. Like it's ridiculous. I don't know how they're making any profit on it.
Mm, yeah,
It's crazy. But they haven't just gotten that one site. They've got 3 more sites. They've already lost 2 from what I've heard. But you just can't pick them, eh? Sometimes it's the big guys that come in and start swinging their dick and undercut you, and then
yeah,
sometimes it's Greg with his Commodore slinging grass, and they'll
yeah,
come in and they'll do you on some as well. But when it
yeah.
comes to like insurances and stuff like that, that's where I draw the line. Like if someone's rolling
Mm,
around without insurances, that's pretty bad. And
yeah,
yeah, there's some pretty
yeah,
crazy operators still that would be insured. But yeah, just talking to the plumber this morning, like so what we were getting done was we've bought a new sink and a new tap and stuff like that for our kitchen. And the way that this one has been installed, it's been installed in stone first of all, so he can't cut it. Like it can't be legally cut anymore. And they've put so much silicon in that it's near impossible for him. He couldn't get it out. So he literally said, "Look, it is not worth my time or your money for me to potentially destroy your bench top getting this sink out. So I'm actually going to re-silicon it for you. I'm going to pack up my stuff and I'm going to leave. I just advise you to go to, these are the next steps I would take." He said, "Once it's out, call me and I'll install it, but I'm not going to do it." Like, I don't think that would happen if someone turned up to a job that they couldn't really handle in our industry, and they'd be like, "No, I want that money." Like,
yeah,
they'd still attempt it. Like, even I'd contemplate, even I'm looking at the bench top thinking, "Oh, I could probably get that." I had all sorts of ideas run through my head. Like, how about we get some, I don't know, some floss or something like that underneath the edge, and we'll just like sort of cook it out. Or he said he had piano wire. He goes, "Oh, I've got piano. It's not a bad idea, but I've got piano wire in the truck. It'd probably be quite
yeah,
abrasive on the top." And I was like, "Oh, geez." It's just, I feel like sometimes we bite off a little bit more than we can chew. But yeah, it's nice to have someone that was honest for once, because he was like,
yeah,
$200 an hour. He said this is going to go from a $500 job to about a $1,200 to $1,500 job today. And I was
yeah.
like, oh, fuck. All right, fair enough, man. Maybe pull back. I'll call the missus and make sure she doesn't want you to just go ahead with it. Because to be honest, I was like, nah, I don't want you to
And
do it.
that's nice, an experienced operator. Yeah, they're charging whatever, but yet, they know what's going to happen. They've got the
Yep.
foresight to see that letting a young guy in, still charging probably that much, and who's just going to go guns blazing and then end up in all sorts of strife and maybe not be insured at the end of it. And that's where, being a member of the Masters Landscapers Association is important to me, because I like to keep standards up and industry esteem, and like keep it all maybe a little bit more above board, bit more reputable, which
Yep.
is it's a good reason for being a member of an association like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, congratulations. You've won 2 awards through the South Australian Landscaping Association, haven't you? It's the
yeah,
Masters. It's
it's 8 now. I've won 8 awards for different various, from maintenance to creative pruning, or well, best use of green life. I won a design award 2 years ago for a
Geez, you got to
Japanese
update your website, don't
inspired.
you?
Yeah, I don't have it plastered all over everything. But won a few, yeah, won a few now, which is nice,
That's
because
awesome.
I've heard gardening can be a little bit unrewarding, because what you do is sometimes just locked away in someone's backyard, right? no one
Yep.
sees it. So it's nice to be able to show people what you do and get some recognition. So um, that's also a great reason to be involved in one of these associations. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's end goals for the for our Lawn and Land Equip Expo is to eventually have a similar show night like the landscaping associations around Australia have. We don't have that for what we do, so um, that's a huge undertaking. Like when I originally was going to do what is now the networking night, I was calling it a gala dinner, and then looking into how to actually put together a gala dinner, I was like, oh fuck, I've bitten off more than I can chew now. So we
Yeah.
pulled it back to a networking night to see if there was
Yeah.
a want for that, and we've sold a shitload of tickets, and
Yeah.
way quicker than we thought. So it's going to be at least 130, 140 people there on the night. And we'll have some key speakers, Clint from Lawn Hub being one of them. We've got
Yeah.
Lawn Solutions. We've got business development managers. Yeah, we got a few cool speakers, and then we can all sort of, mingle and do what we don't really get to do normally, and actually network with other businesses from around Australia, not just in our own local area, but from all over Australia. So, yeah,
Yeah, it's a
it's
great
just a
it's a
stepping
great thing to
stone.
do. Yeah, it's awesome to do things like that and get people enthused about their job that when they're not just at work all the time. Actually collaborating and getting out there with other people who do the same thing. Um, I went to one in Adelaide. It was put on by another podcast guy. I met the Doldries there as well.
Yep.
And I thought, you know what? It was at Adelaide Oval, and it was the turf curators there spoke, and it was quite interesting. They had products around, um, and I guess like lawns aren't my thing. Like I don't do the only mower I ride is my 4-wheel drive mower at home here, which is cool. I love that thing. It's an
What
Orac.
have you got, a Razorback or an Oric? Oh, an Oric. Oh,
Correct. Yeah.
nice.
My neighbour's got a Razorback. He also mows my
Yep.
property, but I bought the Oric. It's pretty cool. I like it. That's all the mowing I do. But being involved in an industry not like that was just good, and I think the more people see what other people are doing, and that everyone's not out to steal each other's work, and maybe a bit more of a friendly environment and trying to help each other rather than cut each other down, it's a good thing, I reckon.
Yeah, well, 3.5 hours of drinks and canapes will loosen anyone's lips. So we've
Yeah.
definitely it'll definitely be a niche crowd there, because the people who are coming to the networking night, they are pretty invested in the industry if they're going to take the time to come to an actual networking night and meet a bunch of people.
Mm.
And like there'll be a few sort of like influential people there in the the social media side of things too, like Tim the Lawnmower Man will be there, and a couple of others. So that'll be pretty cool, because
Mm.
a lot of the stuff, even with Tim, like one of the main things I've always asked him is like, how do you gain followers? Because it's weird in Australia, because like where your Instagram is, you're heading towards 10,000, and I
Yeah,
reckon like
a
as
slow
soon as
burn.
you get over, oh look, mine's only on like 6,500. I've been doing it for bloody 7 or 8 years now, so it
Yeah,
is
it's
what it
hard.
is. And I think once you get over 10,000, you're either buying followers, or you're out of Australia, or you're not in the industry anymore. So you're either, your content is being absorbed by just random people,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you're outside of the country and you're grabbing like the US market or the UK market. I'd say your stuff would be pretty popular in the UK. Would that
Yeah,
be
there's
right
a
to say?
Yeah, it's definitely floats in the UK because of
Yep.
a lot of that kind of formal gardens, I guess, big over there. So yeah, there's a fair bit of love coming from the UK and Europe in general. Yeah, yep.
Very cool. It's funny, like
Yeah,
looking at the algorithms that I've got on the podcast. Like I've got a random listener in Japan. I've got I've got a bunch in Europe, Africa. I didn't think that I'd
yeah,
have any listeners in Africa. Maybe they accidentally stumbled across it, or but yeah, the main people that listen to me are from Australia and America. So and then it's UK, and then it just floats around like twos and threes in different countries. But it's very weird. Like I never thought people outside of Australia would consume any of what I've got to say. But I do have a lot of good guests on, so I think that's probably spurring people along. But yeah, it's pretty wild, man. Like I absolutely like I froth over your pages. Like all the stuff you do is all like the accuracy and just the way it looks is just completely different. It's yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do at my house, but yeah, I've got a lot of
yeah.
other projects before I start trimming balls. That's for sure.
Thanks. Yeah, look, I love that kind of. Obviously, I like that kind of thing in the garden, that more creative side to gardening. But my garden looks nothing like that. So I've got 20 acres in Cherryville, where in the hills, Adelaide Hills,
Oh
and
wow.
I've got a bit of a little vineyard and an orchard and a lot of bushland and my nursery, and I don't have a garden as such that I have to manicure at home. I don't. It's all a bit more wild at home, which is
So it's a wet
uh,
20 acres too.
yeah, and that's been also my goal now is to. I wish I could just have the business hedgehogs running a little bit more separately to me, so I do have time to
Yeah.
lift my game in the nursery. I want to I'm building a little sort of tiny house up in the bush. I just want to spend
Oh,
a bit more
good.
time at home and be able to, we've worked so hard to pay the house off and blah blah blah. And it's sort of I'm 51 now, so I'm sort of starting to go, oh, I better start to enjoy this, So I'm sort of forcing
Yeah,
myself to stay at home a bit more and start to tick off a few of those things that you never get around to. So I'm trying to do that. This is the year to do that. It's already almost gone, so maybe next year's going to be the year to do it. But I'm certainly my mindset this year has it's been like flicking a switch. Um, just taking the foot off the pedal as far as work goes, not taking the foot off the quality. And obviously, I still need to earn money, but just not being so. It's allowing or making time for other things, and family is just becoming a bit more important to me now, I think. Yeah.
that's good. Oh, look, I totally understand what you're talking about. I've just turned 40 and I've probably never had to work. So it's not, I shouldn't say so hard, but, I've physically destroyed myself year after year, but it's so much work, like so many phone calls, emails, stuff that I can handle all the physical work in the world. But when it comes to that sort of stuff, it's not my specialty. So,
Yeah. Same.
yeah, that's what's getting me. But we also like we're actually really happy about what we're doing now with the podcast and things like that because we can do things like we went up to Redcliffe and stayed at Redcliffe overnight. Took the kids and everything. I did the podcast with Clint, and
Yeah.
then the rest of it we could spend together. Same with the expo. Like we're coming down the week before. We're going to go and see the penguins and stuff down in at Phillip Island, and
Yeah.
I think there's a Dino World and the Puffing Billy or whatever it is down there, the train, and we'll do a few things for the family, and then we'll just hook in hard and try and build something because eventually my body will fall to bits, and I'll find it hard to do what I
Well,
do on tools. But yeah,
that's sort of like what I'm doing with the master classes is and so we did a similar thing with Craig Ratcliffe. Actually, he had this little topiary
oh,
festival at Merribee Gardens and invited me to be a guest. We both did master classes.
yeah,
We sold a bunch of tickets, and Jason Hodges was there, and made a bit of a thing of it. So I brought the family along, and we made a little bit of a holiday of it as well. So it's like that, working holiday, but that's when you can sort of turn your work into a little bit more fun as well,
Yeah.
and bring the family along, and then it starts to make a bit more sense, as to, your work can actually sort of help your life as well, not just be this
Yeah.
noose around your neck all the time. So I'm thinking outside the square, and like what you've done with the podcast is just it's a great thing to do, and it opens a whole lot of new doors. So that's I'm sort of on that. That's also part of Head of the Clouds, is like, okay, do a little bit more of the maybe a bit more media stuff, maybe a bit more hands-on projects, maybe work with Master Landscapers Association and do some practical stuff, helping other gardening teams with some tips and tricks, but also as part of that, just getting out and about and interstate, and making it a bit more fun. So it's pretty
Yeah, maybe
important.
you can talk to those Netflix executives and get your own show where you travel the world checking out topiary and take your family with you.
Yeah. There's a guy called
Oh,
Gibby Sizz or something, Gibby Scissor Hands or something. I forget his name. He's a good guy. He's in the States, and they did a
yeah.
with Martha Stewart. They did I forget what it's called, but it was like a topiary competition, reality TV show, and you have
Oh,
to
wow.
you're
Yeah.
you're all given a plant, and you snip it up, and then the judging panel comes in. That would be fun to do something like that. Um,
That would be cool.
well, maybe not so much fun, but it'd be a good laugh anyway. But
It'd be good to watch. Yeah, I mean,
the Netflix thing, I asked one of the green team, the head of the green team. I said, because we were shooting, I had to drop the plants in winter. No, it was autumn. I dropped the plants there for the first shoot, and I had to bring them home. And then they were shooting on that location again in 6 weeks. So 6 weeks later, I took them back. Um, But I said to them, so hang on, so you're going from autumn when you got all the trees in the background, sort of with leaves on, and then you're going to be shooting again in winter. Surely, what happens with the leaves? Like, there's going to be this. I said, do you stick them back on or something? Jokingly, and they said, yeah, we do. We do. We have to stick them back on. So
really?
I was sort
Oh,
of interested in that. Maybe I could branch off into that set design, horticulture set design sort of thing. But that was a bit of a turn off. I'm like, oh, I don't know if
uh,
I could. There was a lot of plastic
it'd be
going on. Yeah, plastic
yeah, it
plants
would
to
be pretty
fill
cool.
in gaps.
Yeah, see, that's things like people don't really realize is you don't have to stay stagnant. You can always have these little ideas tinkering in the back of your head, and if an opportunity pops up, maybe have a shot at it. I get though, like it's a weird time in the world. Like everybody's trying to stay as secure as possible. Apparently there's a hostile alien ship headed our way, or some random shit is always going on in the world. There's earthquakes, and it's a lot of people are quite reserved in what they want to risk at the moment. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
um, yeah, I mean, there'd be tons of opportunities out there. I guess that's, how we've seen the expo too. Like, it's a pretty big risk. The amount of money that we've sunk into it is astronomical.
yeah, I
And we're
imagine.
not even looking at, yeah, we're not looking at this year or last year or even next year. We're probably looking more to the future because some of these other shows that are on, I mean, I think Agfest is turning 100 this year. So, Henty's another big agricultural show, and that's turning. I
Yeah,
think that was 65 this year. Like, there's heaps of shows out there that have been around for a lot longer. They're just not as nichey as ours. So that's where we're hoping we can be a bit different.
yeah. I
Plus, I
mean,
might
the
go
farm
there.
shows. Yeah, the local sort of country town shows, they're a bit broader, aren't they, really? There's a few tractors
Oh,
and bits and bobs around, but it's not really yeah, it's nice to have a complete uh industry centric, I don't know if that's a word, but something,
yeah.
all of everybody with the same mindset in the same game, out to get good ideas, new innovations, and all of that. Yeah, that's a good
Well,
thing.
eventually, I'd love to be able to offer people like yourself. Like you have a very unique business. I'd love to offer, a contractor's discounted price or something to have yourself come and set up a stand and just be able to offer you masterclass and offer some advice. Like that's where I think the education
Mm,
part we had to put on a back burner this year again because a lot of people will be coming to see the tools that will help them grow their own business, and then obviously next year we'll focus a bit more on the education. And yeah, it's just going to grow bit by bit. We'll just target something each year and try to make it bigger and better. And I think this year the power equipment side, like we've done super well with the power equipment. So yeah, next year we'll look into making sure we've got a lot more fertilizer brands there
hmm
and a bit more education. And then the next year we'll work on something else, and the networking night will grow. We'll get a bigger space that can hold more than 150 people, and so we're looking at being on the Gold Coast next year. So that'll be cool too. Like we were talking and we've spoken to a few brands and one in particular that I spoke to Chris. He's the owner of Ventrac Australia, and he does cool tops, which are basically roofs for zero turns and tractors. And he's like,
Yeah,
mate, I've been doing it for 35 years. Like if you can do a Melbourne and a Gold Coast show, like you'll get people doing the destination. Like the Gold Coast is a really nice destination, especially for families. And
yeah,
what
yeah,
better way to have a holiday than spend one day at a show, and then it's a bit of a tax deductible holiday.
yeah, exactly. And it's like there are a few tools places around who travel around with their Japanese tools and go to all the markets, and not only that, but they're also bringing the family along and meeting people in the industry in different states, but seeing a bit of the country at the same time. Um, I think I'm talking with Shakunin Store about doing something at Berry Garden Festival.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and just tying in with their with their stall, and also doing some master classes off the back of that, and also some tool demonstrations. But that sort of makes sense. So yeah, I do like
Is that
all that.
a lady that runs that?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I,
Yuko. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think
she's the
I think
boss.
I reached out. Yeah, I think I heard she runs a tight ship and she's got awesome
Yeah,
equipment too. So I did reach
yeah,
out. It was very hard to. So reached out to her. I think I reached out to Japanese Tours Australia, and they just have such an online presence now. I don't know if they feel like that space is for them. But I think
mm,
if you're pairing it up with masterclasses and things like that, it's definitely, like in my opinion, it's definitely the space for them because we will like doing the podcast with Joel from InStyle and things like that. And I'm in a group with like some of the best gardeners in Melbourne. So I know like I've got a lot of really highly skilled local landscapers and gardeners coming along. Like they
yeah.
really would have benefited from having them there. But
Uh,
it is what it is at the end of the day. Like we'll build credibility and we'll get everyone along at some stage. We've got their number. I think half the
well,
battle's just getting their direct number and their name.
yeah, yeah. It's those kind of little stands become a little hub for gardeners. Like where when I was in Melbourne, I went to the Melbourne Flower Show this year,
Yep.
um, and hanging out at Shakunen's stall, I met Varaya Gardening. I met Leaf by Leaf. I met all these, put all these. It's like we all know each other, like we're all friends. It's the first time we've ever met. It was cool.
Yep.
But I think, yeah, that those kind of stalls are a little hub for people in the biz, and yeah, it's. I think they're a good draw card, and I think they'd probably like to attend those venues if they can, those shows if they can for sure.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
wish.
Yuko came to Adelaide actually for my last masterclass I did here. She flew all the way
Oh,
in and but see, out of that, like I think we had about 20 people. It was a masterclass for like that's about the maximum because it's pretty hands-on.
yep.
But she did a little tool demo as well, and we everyone got to use the tools, and she did pretty well, I think. Out of only 20 people, she made a few sales, so I think it's worthwhile. That
Yeah,
you know,
nice.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
speaking of your masterclass, if anyone wants to like reach out, like what's the best way?
Well, obviously, Instagram just through Hedgehogs Gardens. When I'm starting to think about one, I normally put out a little put some feelers out, like, hey, masterclass coming up soon. Who's keen? And through that, usually get a few responses. And recently, there's been a lot of interstate. Like, do you come to Queensland? Do you come to New South Wales? Um, and I had a person fly in from Victoria to my last class. She flew in the morning and flew out at lunchtime. Flew out
Yeah,
straight afterwards, so she literally just came in. So I feel like that's the best way. And if I can gauge who's where, maybe I can think about doing something interstate, getting something organised interstate as well, to keep everyone happy and just to expand the horizons a little. Yeah.
I'd be keen to do it. Like if I was coming down. So that's the thing with the podcast is like it kind of opens me up to do a few cheeky things around the country. Like I could come down and go and do an in-house podcast with Clint and Adam if they have time. Go and meet
Mm.
up with the Doldries and Jared Sum from he's the admin for LMCA.
Oh yeah.
Come to your masterclass. Like there's so many cool things around the country. It's yeah, it'd be good for content, but yeah, it just need some sponsors, eh?
Yeah.
The hardest thing I think because we're such a niche industry. Um, it's hard because I think there's like 20,000 lawn and garden maintenance businesses that are registered in Australia, and yeah, it just doesn't equate. I'm only with the show and with the podcast. I'm really just talking to people in the industry at the moment.
Yeah.
I have thought about getting people from outside the industry that do. There's a guy that I speak to now and again on TikTok. He runs 8 different businesses, and I don't know how he does that. That's just ridiculous to me. But I'd love to have him on because he's got a different type of brain to me, for
Yeah.
sure.
But like even you just taking it to the level that you've already taken it to, and you've obviously got a bit more of a business brain than me, even just thinking about these things. I rely heavily on anyone just to get to get the masterclass to get the tickets sorted out. I don't do any of that myself. I can't. I'm just not. It's just not my thing. I don't have that kind of brain to organize. And the business, I guess, my business could have been a lot better if I did have a business brain. But you're obviously doing something right there. But it's just
Well, I
that
don't think
tricky thing about followers and getting the right followers and appealing to the
yeah.
right people. And yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I don't do that stuff either. Like Lou does all of that sort of stuff. Like she's dealing with most of the admin for the show as well. Like I truly am just lucky that we've both found our sort of space in this sort of business. Like it's only the two of us. So next year we will be obviously going a bit harder again, and we'll probably change things up and maybe get some marketing help because then it'll take the pressure off Lou a little bit. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's just every year we've got like a list growing of what we're going to change. But yeah, I think just business minded people from other industries wouldn't be such a bad thing to have on, especially
Yeah.
when they've got multiple businesses because that blows my mind because it's hard enough to run one and give an appropriate amount of attention to one, take care of staff in one, like. Yeah, that's one thing. Like,
Yeah.
once you take on staff, you sort of take on, what goes on in their lives as well.
Yeah.
So,
And I
yeah,
guess that's what, like Clint, you had Clint, I listened to his podcast. I've been on his podcast and I've known him since. So he used to serve me when I worked for that first landscaper. Clint used to serve
oh,
me as we walked in the first thing in the morning, bleary eyed. He used to serve us a shot of coffee with a little bit of in it, with a little bit of the grappa in it, just to warm us up. So I've
yeah,
known Clint for a long time, but then hearing him talk nowadays, I'm like, the guy's a machine. And when he talks about business as going to war, I'm like, ah, you know,
Yeah.
and now I get it. And I wish I had knuckled down and actually seen what I do as a business a lot earlier. But he's got this just holistic approach to. He just it's like he's like organized the universe in his brain somehow, and he gets it. And that's something that I haven't got yet. So,
Yeah,
but
well,
listening to
I
him
haven't
is,
quite got that.
yeah, well, you're getting there.
Well, I'm actually like that's why I'm surrounding myself with people like Clint and obviously like CEOs and directors of these big companies because I can bounce stuff off of them. Like even the other, I think it was probably Saturday night, Friday night, or Saturday night. Clint sent me a text and he's like, "Hey man, just letting you know that the because he's so and look, I 100% like this is what I need. I need someone to tell me like this doesn't look great, fix it."
Yeah,
So he sent
yeah,
me a
well,
message saying, "Hey mate, your event, there's something not right about the front cover. You might want to have a look at it." And I'm like,
huh?
"Oh, you fucking thanks, dude." Like jumped on straight away. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I kind of get what he's saying." Talked to Lou, so we're doing some more, doing some stuff towards marketing that better and making it look a little bit flashier. But
Right, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. See,
look,
that's handy. Like, and the
yeah,
fact that it even take the time to tell you that is great. What a good
exactly.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like a lot of people have their opinions about Clint. Lots of people after the podcast straight away they were like, what was he like? I was like, fucking awesome. Like it was great to talk to someone who is like just all he thinks about is making moves and his family. Like he honestly, spoke so much about his family, but he also spoke so much about like making big moves and risk versus rewards and like he obviously started from the bottom and now he's doing big things. But
yeah,
yeah, I'd love to speak to more people like that. And but then I'd also like the business is some businesses are supposed to be fun. Like I can tell that you love what you do, and you don't need to go crazy and you know go overseas and make moves in the international market and things like that like he does. Like I'm the same. Like I'm just
yeah.
having
Well,
fun. The podcast all came because I was starting to miss like talking to people. I used to catch up with Ben every week. We do the skull sessions and then it slowly went away and I was like, oh, okay. Kind of missed
you missed
that.
that.
And
Yeah,
now yeah, I did miss it. Like and now I get to talk to heaps of people. I don't just talk to people on the podcast. I talk to people behind the scenes because people are like, "Oh, I had loved listening to the episode. It was really good." And then they'll bring up something from the podcast. I was like, "Oh, that's true." Like then they'll start getting me thinking about other stuff, and yeah, it's
yeah,
good. It's good fun, and that's all I'm out for. I like the podcast is nothing serious. I would love to be able to invest more time in it, but the expo comes first because at the end of the day, I think that's what, that'll support my family a bit better than the podcast will, and the podcast will just come naturally. I think.
yeah. Well, it's you're a natural at it. The organising of an event like the expo would be daunting process. It's a bit like an event organizer, I guess. The nerves they get before a big gig or a big festival that with the bands
Yeah.
and I guess you've got that sort of pressure, which I would probably leave to you. That's not my bag, but like I do love that people like you are doing it, and um, the whole Instagram thing. As much as I wasn't on Facebook, and I did do the Instagram thing because one, I can show people what I do. Two, I get to see what other people do. Three, I can talk to people behind the scenes and bounce ideas off of them if they're willing. And most people are quite willing to talk about different ways of doing things and what you're using and hey, does that product really work? Or is it really sustainable? Or what do you think about the copper content in that? It's a world of
Yeah.
information, and you just have to sort of put yourself out there and be open to people. And you might get a few haters along the way, but that's just dickheads, and they're everywhere. But um,
Yeah.
I think on the whole that this whole little network of people was really great to tap into and be involved in.
Yeah, and it gives people something to look forward to. I know a lot of the time, like I got obsessed with jumping on LMCA back in the day, to the point where like I was like, oh, maybe I need to get off of my phone a little bit. But it was good because it motivated me to sort of do better, really. Like at the end of the day, like
Yeah.
you see people that are doing so much better and they're doing the work that you kind of want to do, and you're like, oh, I can get there. And then you can ask that question, like, how did you get there? And, what tactics did you use? Like, the thing that's going through my brain, I'm like thinking, how do you get your work? Like, are you fully just word of mouth now? Do you just, you've got your Instagram, but do you advertise anywhere else? Like they're the sort of things that are going
No,
through my brain. It's
Instagram has
just
been a
word of mouth.
little one, but it's always been word of mouth. It's like I started in that street. You get one job in a street, and then the neighbor goes, "Wow, he's really turned that garden around. Why isn't my garden looking like that?" And then you get theirs, and then you're doing the whole street, and then, you know, but then you get your guys to come in, and then you start to move out of the street. The new guy comes in, who's the young if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, but it's been word of mouth predominantly, and that's why I think it's been hard for me, is because it's been about my reputation and my hard work, and now I need to find other people who work that hard and to that level.
Yep.
So I set the standard pretty high. Um, so yeah, it's been word of mouth. I did advertise recently that in a magazine in Australia, South Australia, called SA Life, just to introduce Head in the Clouds, because it was more like me saying to myself, "I'm doing this now. That's the line in the sand. I'm releasing that ad. I'm putting it out there, and I'm actually doing it." So um, I don't really advertise. I've advertised twice in that magazine, but apart from that, word of mouth. Instagram has been great. I feel like it's more just people who follow me anyway, so I'm not really reaching a whole lot of new people. But certainly, a little bit of work does come my way through that, and usually the right work, as in it's all about feature plants, cloud trees, creative pruning, and design. That's tend to come through Instagram. So that's good. Yeah, that's handy.
Yeah, that's so cool. No, it's definitely such a broad stroke, this industry, and I'm very happy that I got the chance to talk to you. It was just such a spur of the moment thing. I was like, I didn't have anyone to interview this week. I've got a couple at the end of the week. But yeah, I was like, oh fuck, what do I do? And then you messaged me and you were like, oh, I think we'd do a good podcast together. I was like, wait, what are you doing tomorrow? it was so it was so lucky, man. I'm so thank you that you could jump on with me. That has made my week.
No, I appreciate it. I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, thanks for having me on. And good luck with the expo and all of that.
Well, thanks, dude. Feel free to float over. You can jump on the Doldries bus.
Yeah,
Should be a fun adventure.
so that'd be a wild ride. Yeah, for sure.
It would be.
Uh,
We've got a few buses heading, one from South Australia, one down from Brizzy. We've got the Bang bus going from Brizzy and the Doldries bus going from South Australia. So, yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. So,
Well, I was
keep an eye
up
on
that
my phone.
way recently. I was up at Brisbane not too long ago, but it was more of a
Oh,
family thing.
true.
We're around the Glasshouse
Yep.
Mountains, just with friends who live up there, ex-Adelaide people. But beautiful part of the world, and I don't know how you keep on top of mowing all that beautiful, lush greenery there. It's
I think
well,
that's where, yeah, it's hard.
yeah,
If you become a mate, you become very heavily into the maintenance side of business up here, because things are already starting to kick off. I've gotten some photos from some of the dudes that live up north, and they're already doing weekly cuts. So
yeah,
it very, like, we do have downtime. Like, winter's been really good for us this year. It's been very cold here in Brizzy. We just got absolutely pummeled by snow in Queensland, sort of on the New South Wales Queensland border. Like the most snow I've seen in ages. We were going to drive out there, but they said if you if you didn't leave yesterday, don't bother because you won't get there.
Yeah.
But
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know it was that
yeah,
cold. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. I think the other morning it was a low of 3, so we don't normally get those temperatures. So,
Mm.
but yeah, it's really pulled everything back. Like grass is not growing, which has been good for catching up on tree trimming and mulching and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But
Oh yes, so
yeah,
this year will
once
be
again,
turning brown.
yeah, no, well we've got beautiful green lawns because we've still had rain all the way through and tops of maybe around 22 to 24. So, yeah, we still have really nice, gardens and stuff like that. It's just they're sort of stunted at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this next season will bring. They reckon it's going to rain all the way through till December, so it'll be a wet, wild one again, which is
Wow.
what we're starting to here in Queensland.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm enjoying the winter here, and I'm hoping that we get some more rain because we had a shit of a season. No rain, no autumn, you know, no autumn growth either. So, um,
Oh, okay.
I was kind of happy I didn't have two extra guys because a lot of the gardens didn't need as much attention as they normally do. But water wise, we're a bit light on here, so I'm keen for more rain. But I think both of us and everyone in our game is starting to get that spring anxiety, where it's the calm before the storm. I'm definitely
Yep.
pumping myself up for spring. So yeah, I just enjoy the little bit of quiet and cold and wet while I can, I think, before the shit hits the fan again.
It's the only way to run in this business. But mate, thank you so much for joining me. This has been fantastic. I'll
You,
probably try and catch up with you and maybe like 9 to 12 months, and we can do another one and see where you're at and see how the masterclass is going and see how many more awards you've got on your shelf.
well, I'm judging this year, so I'm not entering anything this year. So
What? Oh well,
um,
I mean that's
yeah,
pretty cool in its own.
yeah, it's good. It's great. I've been a judge for the last few years. It's good. It's a great little, but it's a bit more sort of official this time. So yeah, it's a little feather in the cap, I guess. Is nice. Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome, man. Well,
All
thank
right.
you again.
Thanks,
And
Brenton.
yeah, we'll definitely catch up and do this again.
Cheers. Thanks again.
Thanks,
Ciao.
mate.